Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations. My family has been preparing for a big wedding, and I've been working on some easy DIY projects for the occasion. Today I'm going to share a simple bridal gift that I created with the Cricut and show you how to adhere HTV on nylon and synthetic leather materials. To make my daughter's big day even more special, I crafted a custom makeup case just for her. This synthetic leather case comes with a light-up mirror and a brush holder insert, and I'll be adding iron-on images to that insert and the top of the case. I'm going to use white iron-on glitter, and I'm going to apply this using a mini press. The smaller device will help me control the area where I want to apply the heat. I'm going to start by showing you how to design the project in Cricut Design Space. Then I'll share some iron-on tips that will help you with your next project. When it comes to DIY projects, my focus is on simplicity, which is why I opted to download some designs from Creative Fabrica instead of creating my own. For the project, I selected 3 designs from the website: the funny makeup bag, best wishes, and these adorable bee images that my daughter loves. Once you have downloaded the designs to your device, you're going to extract or unzip the files. If you're uncertain how to do this, I have a free guide in my shop, which I will link in the description below. In Cricut Design Space, you're going to tap on the upload icon located on the left, then select the upload image icon. Locate the design files on your device and add them to your canvas. Now I'm going to share how I customize these images to create my beauty bag design. I'm going to Frankenstein this project with a variety of images. To streamline the process, I'm deleting the unnecessary images. I'm keeping the words the, Mrs., and the little dot. I'm keeping the queen bee image with the little trail and the good bee image. To ensure that these are going to be sized correctly, I'm adding 2 guides to the canvas. I've selected 2 shapes and resized them to the outside of the bag and the insert. Then I use the operation tools to change these to a guide. If you plan on grabbing one of these beauty cases for yourself, the top is sized at 9 inches by 8 inches and the inner panel is sized at 7 inches by 6 inches. Guides are an easy way to create a template with shapes. With a guide, you can see exactly what your design will look like on the size of your surface, and the guide will not cut out when you make your projects. It's best to arrange these and send them to the far back layer so you don't accidentally grab them when you are laying out your design. Now I'm going to arrange the images on the guide that is the top of the bag. This is going to say the Mrs. and have a little queen bee at the top. As I'm designing this, I am having to ungroup and regroup images. The dot for the best wishes design was only on the Mr., so I needed to ungroup the design, move the dot, then regroup the images so that the dot sized proportionately to the letters. You may notice that every now and again the guide gets selected instead of the image, which causes some minor hiccups. Even with that placed on the lower layer, it still has some issues. In my opinion, this feature would be even better if Cricut would allow you to lock the guides in place. There is a feature called templates that secures a shape on the canvas, but you can only use one template in a project. I wanted to be able to cut out all of my designs at once, so I opted to use the guides instead. I'm going to also modify the queen bee to make weeding easier. I'm using the contour tool here in the lower right corner to remove the inside of the crown and those 3 little dots. I'm worried a bit that the small images won't cut well on glitter iron-on, and if I'm going to be honest, I just want less to weed. Alright, the top of the bag is complete. Now I'm going to move on to the insert. I'm going to use the queen bee image on this design, so I need to duplicate it for this part of the bag. Once again, I'm going to bring these images over to the guide and size my images to fit the design. The insert has a plastic flap on the back. I don't want to melt the plastic with my heat press, so I'm going to make sure that this design is about an inch from the top. I'm also going to bring over this other bee and duplicate it. To flip this second bee, I'm going to go up to the edit bar and choose Flip Horizontal. This is one of my most used tools in Design Space. Alright, so everything is all set on the project. I need to make sure that these images stay in place when I cut them out. Before I do that, I'm going to hide the guides so that I don't accidentally group them with my other images. Normally, you would attach the images together, but I discovered that some of the lettering on these designs are not welded together. So I'm going to select all my images and use the Combine tool to unite them together. With the Combine tool, I get the same results as weld, but I can edit the images later when I reopen the project. Before we move on, make sure you save the project. I often forget to save, and then my internet decides to cut out and I lose all my work. Now I want to select Make It here at the top and go to Map Preview. As you can see, the guides are not there. They're a great little tool when you're designing, and they don't cut out with your project. I am using iron-on vinyl, so I need to mirror my images. Over on the left, there's a little toggle button that, when clicked, it mirrors all your designs. I'm going to tap on Continue and choose my material. I'm using glitter iron-on, so I'm going to tap on Browse All Materials and select Glitter Iron-On in the Materials list. I'm going to double check that my images are mirrored. I'm just going to click this Edit icon over here on the left and make sure that all those images are ready to be cut out. When you apply your iron-on vinyl to your standard grip mat, you need to place the material shiny liner side down. The machine is going to do what is called a kiss cut, which is a cut that goes through the iron-on film and leaves the liner intact. After the images are cut out, you are going to need to weed the vinyl. I like to trim around my designs so that I can save the HTV scraps for another project. The negative pieces are going to be removed from each of the images, leaving that liner intact. This process is called weeding. Now, there are multiple weeding tools out there that are available. I have a weeding hook, tweezers, and a weeding pen. I prefer using this hook to weed glitter iron-on because the vinyl is a little thicker than other materials. I also keep the little weeding bin nearby to put my scraps in. Now I've already gone ahead and weeded my second design, and I just noticed that I have another image sitting here that is cut from some black glitter. I was working on two projects simultaneously that day and forgot to move the piece out of the way. I will be sharing another bridal gift project that I made with that image next week and show you how to add iron-on to a foam-like rubber material. If you would like to be notified when the video is added, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and notification bell. While you're at it, let me know that you enjoyed today's project by tapping the thumbs up icon or leaving me a comment below. I would love to know if this fun little project inspired you today. I'm going to finish the rest of the weeding off camera and move on to the heat press portion of the video. The insert is made of nylon material, and on the back there is a little plastic flap that covers the brushes. So I have two materials that can be easily destroyed with heat. The plastic flap can be easily flipped out of the way. This attaches to the insert about an inch from the top, which is the reason why we made that design a little smaller. I have already used a lint roller to remove any fuzz, dog hair, or debris from the panel. Normally you would preheat this, but I wanted to apply the least amount of heat to that nylon, so I'm going to skip that part. I am placing the weeded image, shiny liner side up, onto the material, and I'm covering it with a silicone mat to prevent my iron from touching the nylon. My mini press is set at the lowest setting, and I'm swiping it across the image for about 30 to 45 seconds. I don't want to heat this any longer because I don't want to risk overheating the nylon. Typically, with most iron-on projects, you would flip the material over and iron the backside. On this particular item, there is cardboard sandwiched between the layers, so heating it on the back would not achieve much. Since this material is made of nylon, I reduce the heating time and temperature typically required for glitter iron-on, so the adhesive hasn't bonded to the piece yet. After letting this cool a moment, I'm going to repeat my heat process. The heat press is set at the lowest temperature, and I'm going to run it over the image for another 30 to 45 seconds. This is a cool peel, which means that I'm allowing the iron-on to cool completely before I remove that liner. If I remove the liner while it's still hot or warm, the image will not adhere to the material. While this cools, I'm going to add that second image to the top of the case. Before I do, I need to remove that rechargeable light-up mirror from inside the bag and add a towel to create a solid surface for the iron-on. This is a synthetic leather material, which can be easily damaged if the heat press temperature is too high. The texture of the material can also make it challenging to apply HTV to. I chose to lay my design so that it would be facing up when the bag was open, and I'm using a ruler to make sure this is centered at the top of the case. Again, I'm going to use that silicone mat to cover the image. This prevents the press from coming into direct contact with the synthetic material. My press is set to medium heat, and I'm going to press this image for 60 seconds. Just like before, this is not long enough to set the adhesive, but a longer pressing time risks the material being damaged. After it cools a moment, I'm going to run the press over the design for another 60 seconds. This is also a cool peel, so I'm going to set this aside until everything cools completely. Now that the iron-on images are cool, I can remove the liner. I like to slowly roll mine off at an angle. This allows me to make sure that all the image adhere to the material. As you can see, the plastic flap did not get damaged because we sized the design to avoid heating this area of the panel. The top of the case is textured, so you have more of a chance of some of the image not adhering. This design also had intricate designs, which sometimes get missed by the mini press. The slow removal of the liner will help you see the part of the designs you missed so that you can reheat them if needed. Alright, let's place everything back inside this case so that I can add it to the gift basket. This makeup case is a great little gift for a new bride, college student, or young teen. There are multiple images on Creative Fabrica's website that you can choose to make your design unique. For those who were curious, here is the finished gift basket I gave our daughter with a peek at that next project I'll be creating. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to know when this is added to my DIY wedding playlist. I want to thank you for joining me for another Cricut project. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies listed below, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.